Ken's been waiting and says, I enjoy this Q&A immensely. Thanks, guys. Hey, appreciate it. Appreciate you watching the show. Best Bible study recommendation, and says he does New King James Version. So what's the best Bible study that you would recommend for him?
You mean the best Bible? Or
I'm assuming. Best Bible study, or excuse me, best study Bible recommendation.
Best study Bible. You know what? What's his name again?
Ken.
Ken. You know, that's something that you might want to. If you're at our church, we've got a number of Bible study or study Bibles that you can come in and take a look at, or you go to a Bible bookstore. I've got my favorites, and it kind of depends on what you want to do. And so right now, I'm using what's called the Open Bible, and it's just a good all-around study Bible. Basically, what you want is something that will give you Bible encyclopedia, and put this up so that you can see it. Well, I don't know that you can see this, but basically what it is you look up a subject and it will give you a number of passages that deal with that subject, and so that's a cool thing. A lot of times a good study Bible is going to have things in the back, like for example, I've got a harmony of the Gospels where it goes through and shows you what Jesus was doing at different times during his ministry. Prophecies of the Messiah, we were just talking about that, and so here's a list of the prophecies of the Messiah. And I'm not familiar with this because I get a lot of this stuff from other sources, and I've been doing this for a very long time, so I'm not necessarily paying attention to these. But this is the kind of stuff that you want in your study Bible. You're going to like. It's got outlines of the books of the Bible. So at the beginning of this study Bible, I've got an outline, for example, of Romans, and so it'll go through and just give you an overall outline.
I like it when they do that.
Of what the book of Romans is about. Also, at the beginning of every chapter, it's got a history on who wrote the book of Romans, the date that it was written, what the theme of the book of Romans is, and then again it gives a really basic outline of that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of like what you want to do is you want to go through and you want to look at these and see what fits for what you want to do. Another study Bible that I use that I really like is what's called the Thompson chain reference. And I love that one. And I was really, for a long time, it was only in NIV and King James, and when it came out in New King James, I went and got one real quick. And what's cool about that is it's got another encyclopedic index, but you can look up a subject and it will take you to a first verse on that subject, and then it takes you to, it's kind of like you have these references in your Bible that will give you another verse that says pretty much the same thing or speaks about the same subject. Well, they take you through the whole Bible on that. And so that was really useful when I was witnessing to people, especially guys in the cults, because they would say things like, well, the Bible teaches that there are many gods. And so I could just open up my my index, look up God, look up the term one, and it would start me off, and I would just take them through the whole Bible on the fact that there's only one God. Bam, 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 bam. And again, they're sitting there, with nothing to say. And so it kind of depends on what you want to do with it, but basically when I'm looking for a study Bible, I want something on the history of the book that I'm dealing with. I like to have a decent outline. I like to have an archaeological, it's good to have an archaeological article, and most study Bibles have that in the back or in the front. And I like to have a encyclopedic index where if there's a subject that I want to look something up on, it'll give me a couple of verses. This has the same thing as a Thompson chain, but not in with the same extensive number of passages. And so it's a few verses. My Thompson chain is something that just takes you through a subject that's more exhaustive.
Yeah.
And so
I had a Thompson chain. I really like that summary because it kind of how you like to do a outline. I mean, when you outline the books, it starts to make sense, especially the style of writers and stuff. Right. What I've noticed too, though, is that different Thompson chain reference Bibles will have a different way they put together their back, and some of them are more extensive than others. And then when you go into like NIV, NLT, I have one that's an apologetics Bible, actually by Josh McDowell and a number of others, HCSB, and they have a whole bunch of stuff that's kind of directed towards apologetics. So there's so many good ones out there. The next step, would you say, obviously a good study Bible, but the next step is there's so many good Bible programs out there.
Right.
I know you use eSword.
No, I use Logos.
Logos, eSword's one. I like Blue Letter Bible, and it's free.
Yeah.
And you get on there, and you can literally click on the verse, and then you can go and see all these Bible studies, what the Greek says, what the definition of that word says, where it's used anywhere else in the Bible. I mean, there's just so much cool stuff that's all free nowadays that you could,
Right.
I mean, it's endless.
So eSword and Blue Letter Bible are really good sources to have, you know, basically a study program on your computer. And I believe eSword even has it for your phone too. It's got a phone app too.
Yeah, they all have the apps.
Yeah, and so I use Logos. Logos is a little bit spendy, and you know, you're talking for a decent package, you're talking about $600-700.
Yeah.
And eSword is free, and you can get almost the same. You can get everything that you really need to study from that.